The alarm did not wake him. He woke before it. The room was dark, quiet, and cold. Outside, the world was still sleeping. No voices, no traffic, no praise waiting for him. Just silence. He sat on the edge of his bed and looked at his hands. They were rough. Old scars crossed his skin like faded memories. These hands had failed before. These hands had promised before. Most people waited for motivation. He did not. He stood up, not because he felt strong, not because he felt inspired. He stood because something deeper pulled him up, something older than emotion, something he could not explain in words. Duty. He washed his face with cold water. The shock burned his skin, but his eyes became clear. The mirror showed a tired man, but not a weak one. He tied a simple cord around his wrist. He had tied it every morning for years. This was not a symbol for others. It was a reminder for himself. He stepped outside. The sky was still dark blue. The air was sharp. Each breath felt heavy, but clean. He walked to the empty field at the edge of the town. No one followed him. No one ever did. People in the town had opinions. Why does he wake so early? What is he training for? There's no war. There's no reward. They laughed when they spoke his name. He never answered. In the field, he picked up a wooden sword. It was old and cracked. He had used it longer than most people stayed loyal to anything. He stood straight, feet grounded, back calm, eyes forward. He began to move. Slow at first. One strike, one breath, another strike, another breath. No music, no shouting, just the sound of wood cutting air. Motivation was loud. Motivation shouted promises. Motivation came and left like a visitor. Duty was quiet. Duty stayed. As he trained, memories came back. They always did. Years ago, he had waited. He remembered sitting in the same room, staring at the wall, telling himself, tomorrow I will start. He waited for the perfect feeling. He waited for confidence. He waited for courage. That day never came. And because he waited, someone else paid the price. He closed his eyes for a moment. His grip tightened on the sword. That was the day he learned the hard truth. Motivation does not come to save you. Duty does. He opened his eyes and continued. The sun slowly rose. Light touched the field. Sweat ran down his face. His arms burned. His legs shook. Still, he did not stop. Pain was not the enemy. Quitting was. After training, he sat on the ground, breathing slow, heart steady. From his pocket, he took out a folded piece of paper. The edges were worn. He had opened it many times. Inside was a simple sentence written in his own hand. If I don't stand, no one will. That sentence changed his life. He stood up again and walked back toward the town. As he passed a market, people were waking. Shops opened. Voices filled the air. A man bumped into him and did not apologize. A group of boys whispered and laughed. He did not react. His duty was not to impress. His duty was to remain steady. Later that day, he worked quietly. He helped an old man carry wood. He fixed a broken fence without being asked. He spoke little, but when he did, his words were clear. People noticed, but they did not understand. At night, when others rested, he trained again, not because he wanted to, because he had promised himself never to return to the man who waited. But that night was different. As he finished his training, he heard footsteps, slow, heavy, not from the town. He turned. A stranger stood at the edge of the field. Tall, dark coat, eyes sharp like knives. The man watched him without blinking. You train like someone preparing for war. The stranger said, There is no war here. The man said nothing. You don't need motivation, the stranger continued. You already have something stronger. The words hit deep. Duty, the stranger said quietly. For the first time in years, the man felt something change inside his chest. Who are you? He asked. Someone who knows what happens when duty is tested, the stranger replied. The wind picked up. The field felt colder. There's a problem coming, the stranger said. And when it arrives, you will have to choose. Choose what? The man asked. The stranger stepped closer. Comfort or responsibility? Then he turned and walked away, disappearing into the dark. The man stood still for a long time. He understood something then. Training alone was easy. Real duty demanded action. That night, sleep did not come easily. His mind replayed the stranger's words. He knew tests did not announce themselves without reason. The world had noticed him, and the world was about to ask for proof. Before sunrise, he woke again. Same silence, same cold, same cord around his wrist. But now, something was different. This time, duty was no longer private. It was coming into the open. He stepped outside, unaware that his quiet life was about to change forever, and that the choice he would soon make would turn him into an example for others who were still waiting for motivation. The stranger's words did not leave him. They stayed in his mind like a shadow that followed every step. Comfort or responsibility? The next morning, he woke earlier than usual. The sky was still black. Even the birds were silent. He sat on his bed and felt the weight in his chest. This time, it was not fear. It was preparation. He tied the cord around his wrist tighter than before. The knot pressed against his skin, reminding him that duty was not soft. Duty was firm. Outside, the air was colder. The field waited, empty and patient. He began training again. But something had changed. Before, he trained to improve himself. Now, he trained because others might soon depend on him. Every movement became more careful. Every mistake became a lesson. He ran longer. His lungs burned. He struck harder. His arms shook. He stood still for long minutes, controlling his breath, calming his mind. When pain came, he did not fight it. He accepted it. Pain was part of duty. Days passed like this. The town watched quietly. Some people still laughed. "Look at him," one man said, "fighting air every morning." Others felt uncomfortable. There was something serious about him now, something unmovable. A young boy began watching from a distance. He never spoke, just watched. Every strike, every bow, every calm breath. The man noticed but said nothing. Duty did not need an audience. One afternoon, an old man from the edge of town approached him. His back was bent. His voice was weak. "I hear you train every day," the old man said. "Yes," the man replied. "Why?" The man paused. "I made a promise," he said simply. The old man nodded. "Promises are heavy," he said. "Be careful they do not break you." "They already did," the man replied. "Once." That night, he trained in the rain. Cold drops soaked his clothes. Mud covered his feet. His wooden sword slipped from his hands and hit the ground. He stared at it. This would be the easy moment to stop. No one would know. No one would judge. But duty was watching. He picked up the sword and continued. When his body failed, he trained his mind. He stood under the rain and breathed slowly. In, out, in, out. He remembered the words he had once read in an old book. A warrior is not built in battle. He is revealed there. Training was not about strength. It was about honesty. Late that night, he sat alone under a tree. His body hurt. His hands trembled. For a moment, doubt entered his mind. What if the stranger was wrong? What if nothing happens? What if all this effort is wasted? Motivation whispered excuses. Duty answered with silence. The next day, the test came early. 2 men were arguing near the market. Voices grew loud. A crowd gathered. One man pushed the other. The weaker man fell. People watched. No one moved. The man felt his heart speed up. This was not a battle. This was not training. This was real. He stepped forward. "Stop," he said calmly. The stronger man turned and laughed. "And who are you?" "Someone standing," he replied. The man swung his fist. The movement was fast, but not faster than discipline. He stepped aside, grabbed the arm, used balance, not force. The attacker fell hard to the ground. Silence. The crowd froze. The man did not celebrate. He helped the fallen man stand. "Go home," he said. Both men left without a word. The crowd slowly disappeared. That night, the stranger returned. He stood at the same place, watching. "You acted," the stranger said. I did what was needed, the man replied. That was the first step, the stranger said. But understand this, training makes you capable. Duty makes you dangerous. Dangerous, the man asked. To comfort, the stranger said, and to yourself. Then he left again. Sleep did not come easily. The man realized something painful. Training would not end. There would always be another test, another choice, another moment where no one else would stand. Days turned into weeks. His body grew stronger, but more importantly, his mind grew quiet. He spoke less. He reacted slower. He observed more. People stopped laughing. They started watching. One evening, the young boy approached him. Why do you never skip training? The boy asked. The man looked at him. Because skipping once becomes a habit, he said. The boy nodded. That night, the man understood something new. Duty does not shout. Duty teaches by example. But deep inside, he knew this was only the beginning. Training had prepared him. Small tests had revealed him. But a greater challenge was coming, one that would not allow mistakes, one that would force him to choose between saving himself or protecting others. As he stood in the field before dawn, gripping his wooden sword, he felt it clearly, the calm before the storm. And this time, there would be no turning back. The storm did not arrive with thunder. It arrived quietly. One morning, the man noticed something strange. Shops opened late. People spoke in low voices. Eyes avoided each other. Fear moved faster than truth. By noon, he understood why. A group of armed men had entered the town. They did not wear uniforms. They did not follow rules. They smiled too easily and asked too many questions. They called themselves collectors. They said they were there for protection. Everyone knew what that meant. The man watched from a distance. His hands stayed calm, but his mind stayed alert. This was not a fight in the market. This was something bigger. That night, the stranger came again. They have done this before, the stranger said, town after town. What do they want? The man asked. Control, the stranger replied. Fear makes people easy. The man looked toward the sleeping town. And if no one stops them, he asked. Then they stay, the stranger said, until there is nothing left. The man felt the weight in his chest grow heavier. This was not about him anymore. The next day, the collectors returned. They demanded food, money, and silence. Anyone who refused was punished. A shopkeeper was beaten in the street. People watched. No one moved. The man stepped forward. Stop, he said. The leader laughed. You again. The man did not smile. You don't belong here, the leader said. Go home. This is my home, the man replied. The leader's smile faded. He stepped closer. Then you will learn. The first strike came fast. The man blocked it. The second came harder. He felt pain in his arm. This was not training. This was chaos. He moved with discipline, not anger. He used balance, not strength. One man fell. Then another. But there were too many. Someone grabbed him from behind. A blade cut his side. Pain exploded through his body. He pushed forward anyway. The crowd screamed. The collectors retreated, dragging their injured men away. They did not lose. They warned. That night, blood soaked his clothes. He sat alone, breathing slowly. The young boy stood nearby, eyes wide. You should have run, the boy said. So should they, the man replied. But inside, doubt grew. He had stood, and now the town would pay. The next day, the collectors returned with more men. They burned a store. They broke doors. They sent a message. Next time, they said, we take lives. People turned toward the man. Fear filled their faces. You caused this, someone whispered. He did not argue. Duty does not explain itself. That night, the old man visited him. You can still leave, the old man said. No one will blame you. The man looked at the cord on his wrist. If I leave, he said, I live. And if you stay, the old man asked. Others might, he replied. Silence filled the room. That was the moment he understood. Duty always asked for a price. Sometimes the price is safety. Sometimes it is reputation. Sometimes it is blood. Before dawn, he walked to the field one last time. He trained slowly, not to win, to remain calm. When the collectors returned, he did not wait for them to speak. He stood in their path. "You can take me," he said, "but you leave them." The leader laughed. "You think you matter that much?" The man raised his wooden sword. "I know I do," he replied. The fight was brutal. Fists, blades, dirt, pain. He fell. He rose. Again and again. Each movement was slower, each breath heavier, but his eyes stayed clear. The people watched. Something changed. A man stepped forward. Then another. Then another. They did not fight like warriors. They stood like humans who refused to kneel. The collectors hesitated. Fear changed sides. They retreated. This time, they did not smile. The town was quiet. People stared at the man. He did not feel victorious. He felt empty. Later that night, alone, he opened the folded paper again. "If I don't stand, no one will." Now he understood the rest of the sentence he never wrote. "If I stand, others might." But the course was not finished. The stranger appeared one last time. "You won," the stranger said. "No," the man replied. "I survived." The stranger nodded. "That is enough for now. But understand this, they will remember you." The man looked at his injured hands. "So will I," he said. As the stranger left, the man realized something chilling. This was only the first real battle. The next one would not be outside. It would be inside him. The town was safe, but the man was not. After the collectors left, people thanked him. Some bowed their heads. Some brought food. Some called him brave. He did not feel brave. He felt tired. At night, when the town slept peacefully, he stayed awake. His body rested, but his mind did not. Every sound felt loud. Every shadow felt close. He saw the fight again and again, the blade cutting his side, the fear in the crowd's eyes. The moment he almost did not stand up again. That was a truth he did not say out loud. He almost quit. One evening, he walked alone to the edge of the town. The wind was cold. The sky was empty. For the first time in years, he untied the cord from his wrist. He stared at it. This small thing had controlled his life. Or had it saved it? "What if I stop?" he whispered. No answer came. Motivation had never lived there. Only duty. And now, duty felt heavy. He remembered the words of the old man. Promises are heavy. He understood them now. When you stand for others, you carry their fear too. Days passed. The town returned to normal. Laughter came back. Shops opened fully. Children ran in the streets. The man trained less. Not because he wanted to, because his mind was tired. One morning, he did not wake before the sun. The silence broke. That day, nothing bad happened. The next day, nothing happened again. A dangerous thought entered his mind. Maybe it is over. That night, he dreamed. He saw himself standing in the field, younger, weaker, waiting for motivation, waiting for someone else to act. He woke up sweating. The dream felt like a warning. He went back to the field. But his movements were slow. His strikes were weak. His breathing was uneven. Anger rose inside him, not at the world, at himself. He threw the wooden sword to the ground. "For what?" he shouted into the empty air. No answer, only wind. The young boy watched from a distance. He had watched for months. Now, he saw something new. Doubt. The boy walked closer. "You are not training," the boy said. The man looked at him. "I am tired," he replied. The boy nodded. "My father was tired too," he said. The man froze. He waited. The boy continued. He waited for the right time. He never stood. The words hit deeper than any blade. The boy picked up the wooden sword and placed it back in the man's hands. "You stood," the boy said. "That is why I watch." The man said nothing. That night, he sat alone and opened the folded paper again. "If I don't stand, no one will." He added another line under it. Standing does not mean winning. It means returning. The next morning, he returned. Not stronger, Not louder, just present. He trained slowly, each movement careful, each breath steady. He stopped chasing the past fight. He stopped fearing the next one. He focused on this moment. This strike, this breath, this step. Days passed. The fire inside him changed. Before, it burned hot. Now, it burned steady. He began helping again, teaching simple movements to the boy, showing him how to stand, not how to fight. Why do you help? The boy asked. Because duty grows when shared, the man replied. But deep inside, he knew the hardest test was still coming. Not a fight, a decision. One evening, a messenger arrived from another town. The collectors were moving again. This time, they were coming prepared. They remember you, the messenger said. The man closed his eyes. Fear knocked again. Not fear of pain, fear of responsibility. If he went, the town would be safer. If he stayed, others might suffer. Duty stood in front of him, silent, waiting. That night, he did not sleep. Before dawn, he tied the cord around his wrist again. But this time, it felt different. Not like a chain, like a choice. He walked to the field one last time before leaving. The boy followed him. Will you come back? The boy asked. The man knelt to his level. I don't know, he said honestly, but I will stand where I am needed. The boy nodded. The man stood up and looked toward the road leading out of town. The sun rose behind him. The enemy outside was real, but the enemy inside was finally quiet. And that silence gave him the strength to walk forward, not as a man chasing motivation, but as one carrying duty. The road was long and quiet. Each step took the man farther from safety and closer to responsibility. The town disappeared behind him, but the promise stayed. He did not walk with anger. He walked with clarity. The collectors had moved toward a larger town. More people, more fear, more silence. This time, the man knew the truth. He could not stop everything, but he could stand once more. When he reached the town, the damage was already there. Broken doors, burned signs, people hiding behind walls, eyes full of the same fear he had seen before. He felt it again, that old weight. But now, it did not bend him. He walked to the center of the town and stood still. People watched. Some recognized him. He is the one, someone whispered. The one who stood. The collectors arrived before sunset, stronger, louder, more confident. Their leader stepped forward, smiling. You again, he said. You should have stayed home. This is someone's home, the man replied calmly. The leader laughed. You think standing makes you powerful. No, the man said. It makes me responsible. The fight came fast. Not clean, not fair. He moved with calm discipline. He did not rush. He did not chase. He protected space. He protected people. Pain returned, but fear did not. Others watched. Then one person stepped forward. Then another. They did not fight. They stood. The collectors felt it. They were no longer facing one man. They were facing refusal. Anger replaced their smiles. Mistakes followed. The leader fell. The rest retreated. This time, they did not return. The town was silent. Then someone bowed. Then another. The man did not raise his head. He felt no victory, only relief. That night, he sat alone. Blood dried on his skin. The cord rested on his wrist. He thought of the boy. He thought of the field. He thought of the man he used to be. A man who waited. At dawn, people came to him. Stay, they said. Lead us, they said. Protect us, they said. He listened. Then he spoke. I am not your leader, he said. I am only a man who stands. He showed them the field. He showed them the habits. Small actions, early mornings, calm minds, shared responsibility. This is the way, he said. Not strength, not anger, duty. Some stayed. Some left. That was enough. Weeks passed. The man returned to his town. The boy was waiting. You came back, the boy said. Yes, the man replied. Will you keep training? The boy asked. The man smiled. Every day, he said. They stood in the field together as the sun rose. No music, no speeches, just breath and movement. Others joined slowly. A farmer, a shopkeeper, a young woman. Not warriors, people. The man no longer trained alone. One morning, he unfolded the paper one last time. If I don't stand, no one will. Below it, he added the final line. When I stand, others remember they can too. He folded it and placed it in the earth. The lesson no longer needed paper. Years later, people would not remember his name. They would remember the habit. They would remember the quiet mornings. They would remember that once, when fear asked them to kneel, someone stood first. And because of that, they learned they did not need motivation. They needed duty.